All right, so today we are embarking on a journey through English history.
Ooh, it sounds exciting.
It is. It is. We are looking at what ifs, key moments where England could have stayed Catholic or
Yeah.
gone back to Catholicism.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Think of it as, a exploration of near misses,
Okay, fascinating.
where a twist of fate, could have drastically changed the religious landscape of England.
I see.
We've got some fascinating historical analysis to delve into,
Oh, great.
which outlines these potential alternative paths.
Okay,
And we want to extract some really interesting insights
all right.
from these close calls.
Gotcha.
We know you guys are interested in gaining thorough knowledge without being overwhelmed.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're going to keep it concise, keep it fun,
That's good.
and just, dive right into it.
Awesome.
Plus, as an extra bonus, we'll touch on a what-if scenario involving Richard III.
Oh, Richard III, intrigue already.
I know, right? It's a big one.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he could have prevented the English Reformation entirely.
Wow, that's a big claim.
Big claim.
Yeah.
So let's get started with this deep dive.
Let's do it.
What strikes me is just how many times England was so close
Yeah, it's amazing.
to either remaining or becoming Catholic again.
Right.
It's like these moments in time where things could have gone either way.
Absolutely.
And our sources point to 10 distinct periods, actually
Distinct.
10, where England was kind of on this religious seesaw, so to speak.
It makes you think how unpredictable history really is.
Totally.
Yeah.
And, it's a testament to how individual choices and strategies, but also like the mood of the people,
Oh,
it
definitely.
all comes into play.
The mood of the people is huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And we're gonna unpack all of that.
Okay, sounds good.
So let's start with our first point of focus.
All right.
Okay. We're going back to the very beginning of the English Reformation,
Okay.
to the early reign of Henry VIII,
Oh, Henry VIII, all right.
before 1533.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, at this time, England was a Catholic country,
Through and through.
through and through.
Yes.
And Henry himself was a staunch Catholic,
Right.
even earning the title Defender of the Faith from the Pope.
That's right, for his writings against Luther.
Exactly. So what happened?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
I think it all boils down to the issue of succession.
Succession, yeah.
His marriage to Catherine of Aragon
Right.
only produced one surviving child, Mary.
Mary, right.
And Henry was absolutely obsessed with securing a healthy male heir to the throne.
It was all about continuing that dynasty, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Vital for a monarch
Yeah.
to have a clear line of succession.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, the lack of a son was a massive problem for him.
It was a huge problem for him.
It was.
And that's what ultimately led him to seek an annulment, right?
Yeah,
From Catherine.
that's right.
And that put him on this collision course with Rome.
Yep.
It's interesting, though, because in these early years
Yeah.
of Henry's reign,
Yeah.
there wasn't really this widespread desire for religious reform in England.
No, not at all.
It wasn't like in other parts of Europe where people were already kind of questioning the church.
Oh, right, exactly. It was a very different situation in England.
It was very different, yeah.
Yeah.
So the big what if here is,
What if? Yeah.
what if Catherine had actually given Henry that son?
A son. Yeah.
You know,
That's the question.
could the entire English Reformation have been averted?
It's entirely possible.
Is it really?
Yeah, I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
No need for an annulment.
Right.
No break with the Pope.
Right.
England stays Catholic,
Wow.
potentially for centuries.
That's mind-blowing
It is, isn't it?
to think that it could have all hinged on that one thing.
Imagine a 17th century England
Yeah.
allied with the Catholic powers of Europe
Wow.
against the rising Protestant states.
Yeah, it's a completely different picture.
It is.
And the sources, they even mention that maybe the
Yes.
Pope could have granted a dispensation.
Dispensation.
Or there could have been a later reconciliation with Henry.
Possibly.
Yeah, because
That's right.
he was still quite Catholic in his beliefs,
He was.
even after the break with Rome,
Yeah, even after the break.
at least initially.
So it really does seem like in those early years,
Yeah,
Catholic England was just one heir away.
one heir away from a totally different fate.
Wow, that's a powerful thought.
It is.
So, moving on to our next near miss,
Okay, what's next?
we have the Pilgrimage of Grace.
The Pilgrimage of Grace. Okay.
Because happened in 1536 and 1537.
Okay.
So this is just a few years after the whole annulment crisis.
Right.
And it's a huge popular uprising.
Wow, a huge one.
Against Henry's, increasingly more radical religious policies.
Okay, so people are starting to push back. Yeah, they're pushing back.
Against Henry's changes.
Yeah, and this Pilgrimage of Grace, you
Yeah.
know, it was a response to the dissolution of the monasteries.
Right.
And all of the religious upheaval that came from that break with Rome.
Right, of course, yeah.
The sources say that almost 40,000 people supported this.
40,000? That's a lot of people.
It is. It is. You know, that's a force to be reckoned with.
For sure.
You don't mess with that.
No, you don't.
It's interesting, too, because this Robert Aske,
yeah.
he was a lawyer from Yorkshire.
Okay.
And he led this whole thing.
Interesting.
And the thing about the pilgrimage is that it wasn't just this spontaneous outburst of anger.
No.
They had clear demands.
They did.
They wanted the monasteries restored.
Okay, yeah.
They wanted the Pope's authority back in England.
Right.
And they wanted to get rid of key advisors like Thomas Cromwell.
Okay.
Who they saw as kind of, the architect of all these changes.
I see, yeah.
And what's really fascinating is how close they actually came.
Really?
To getting what they wanted.
Wow.
Because Henry, at this time, his military resources were stretched pretty thin.
Ah, so he was vulnerable.
Yeah, he was vulnerable.
Uh-huh.
And the dissolution of the monasteries, it wasn't just about religion.
No.
Those institutions, they played a vital role in people's lives.
They did. How so?
They provided charity, they provided employment,
Right.
they offered social support,
Yeah, it was a big part of their lives.
It was a huge part.
Yeah.
And when they were closed, it had a real impact on everyday people.
I can see how that would fuel the anger.
It did.
Yeah.
And that anger is what fueled the Pilgrimage of Grace.
Okay, so they actually had some real momentum behind them.
They did. And they managed to gain control of big parts of the north.
Wow.
Like York, for example.
Right. Big city.
Huge city.
Yeah.
Pontefract Castle.
Oh, wow.
So Henry's power was genuinely threatened.
He must have been sweating a bit.
Yeah, I think so.
So what if they had marched on London?
That's the big what if, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if they had capitalized on that momentum that they had and just marched south and taken London?
Yeah, what could have happened?
Well, if we look at history and how these things have unfolded in the past,
Yeah.
there's a good chance that Henry would have had to negotiate
What do you mean?
with the rebels.
Oh, wow.
Maybe reverse some of his religious reforms,
Um,
or he could have even been overthrown.
Overthrown. Wow.
It's possible,
So a Catholic monarch back on the throne?
Potentially.
And Mary Tudor as the heir?
Possibly, yeah. Mary Tudor is the heir.
That's a completely different timeline.
It's a completely different England, right?
It is.
And the sources point out that Aske, the leader of the pilgrimage,
Yeah.
he made a crucial mistake.
What was that?
He trusted Henry.
He trusted Henry.
He did.
Oh, no.
Henry promised him negotiations.
Okay.
Promised him a pardon.
Right.
And Aske believed him.
And he disbanded the rebellion?
Yeah, he disbanded the rebellion.
Oh, that's a tough break.
It is.
So trusting Henry was his downfall.
Yeah, in this case, it really seems like Catholic England was a single decision away.
Wow. One decision.
One decision. Aske's decision to trust Henry.
Instead of pushing his advantage.
Yeah, instead of marching on London.
Yeah. Yeah.
But of course that's not what happened.
No.
Henry was a shrewd politician.
He was.
And once those rebels were dispersed, he crushed the movement.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
And he executed the leaders, including Aske.
That's cold.
It's ruthless. It's a reminder of the power dynamics at play.
Yeah. No mercy for rebellion.
No mercy, no.
Wow.
So that brings us to our third near miss.
Okay, number 3.
The reign of Queen Mary I.
Queen Mary I. Okay.
From 1553 to 1558.
All right.
Now, Mary was a devout Catholic.
She was.
She was.
Okay.
And she actually succeeded in formally restoring Catholicism to England.
So she brought it back.
She did. She reversed all of the Protestant reforms that her half-brother Edward VI had put in place.
Oh, wow. So a full Catholic restoration.
A full restoration.
Wow. But it didn't last, did it?
It didn't last, no.
Why not?
Why not? Well, Mary's position was always quite precarious.
Precarious.
She brought back Catholic practices. She brought England back into communion with Rome.
Yeah.
But there were a number of factors working against her.
What kind of factors?
Well, for one, she didn't have an heir.
Ah, that heir problem again.
The heir problem again.
Yeah.
The future of a Catholic England was totally dependent on her having a Catholic successor.
Right, someone to carry on her work.
Exactly.
Excellent.
And she married Philip II of Spain.
Philip of Spain? Okay.
Yeah, hoping to secure that Catholic dynasty.
Okay, yeah.
But it was an unpopular marriage.
It was.
With the English people.
Oh, the English people didn't like it.
They didn't like it.
Okay.
And despite her best efforts,
Yeah.
she never had any children.
Oh, no.
So the big what if here
Yeah.
is,
What if she had?
what if she had lived longer?
Right.
And what if she had produced an heir?
An heir, yeah.
What then?
That's a big question.
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
If there had been a Catholic heir on the throne after Mary,
Yeah.
Protestantism might not have taken such a strong hold under Elizabeth,
Right.
her half-sister.
Yeah. So Catholicism could have continued.
It could have continued, yeah.
Wow.
And they could have, potentially implemented a more effective counter-reformation.
Okay.
One that didn't rely so much on persecuting Protestants.
Right, which obviously backfired for Mary.
Yeah, it did backfire.
Yeah. Created a lot of resentment.
It created a lot of resentment.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it was counterproductive.
Definitely.
So it seems like a Catholic England was just one heir away.
One heir away.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's fascinating how much hinged on these successions.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So our next near miss brings us to a much more dramatic event.
Ooh, dramatic.
The Spanish Armada in 1588.
The Spanish Armada, right?
This was a full-blown attempt by Catholic Spain to remove Queen Elizabeth I.
Wow. She was Protestant.
She was Protestant,
okay.
and they wanted to restore Catholic rule in England.
Bold move.
Bold move, yeah.
So what was the plan?
Well, Philip II of Spain,
Okay.
he put together this massive armada.
Yeah, I've heard about this. The Armada was huge.
Huge. It was the largest naval fleet of its time.
Wow.
And the goal was not just to conquer England,
No.
but to forcibly re-Catholicize it.
Okay, so a full-on Catholic takeover.
A full-on takeover.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how were they going to pull that off?
Well, the plan was for the Armada to sail up the English Channel and link up with the Duke of Parma's army,
Okay.
which was stationed in the Netherlands,
Right.
and then launch a full-scale invasion.
So a land and sea invasion?
Land and sea, the whole shebang.
That's a big
It
operation.
was a huge operation.
Wow.
And the sources really emphasized just how close England came to falling
Really?
to this Catholic restoration.
So they almost pulled it off.
They almost pulled it off.
Wow.
England's defenses were much weaker,
Than Spain's.
than Spain's.
Okay.
And there was still a significant Catholic population in England
Right.
who might have supported the Spanish.
Oh, so there could have been internal support?
Yeah, internal support.
Okay.
So just imagine
Yeah.
if the Armada had successfully landed.
A successful landing.
Successful landing.
Yeah.
Okay.
What happens then?
Well, if we look at the military situation at the time,
Yeah.
Elizabeth's army, it was smaller,
Okay.
less experienced,
Right.
than the Spanish.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance she would have been overthrown.
Overthrown. Wow.
Yeah.
So a Catholic monarch back in England?
Potentially.
And who would that be?
Well, some people think it might have been Philip II's daughter,
Oh, okay.
Isabella Claire Eugenia.
Isabella Claire Eugenia.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And England's back under Catholic rule.
Back under Catholic rule, yeah.
Wow, that's a close one.
It was a really close one.
Yeah.
So you could say that Catholic England was just one battle away
One battle away.
at that point.
The Battle of the Armada.
Yeah, the Battle of the Armada.
Wow.
But, as we all know,
Yeah.
the Armada was a disaster for Spain.
It was. Why? What happened?
Well, a few things happened. The English used these fire ships.
Fire ships.
Yeah, they set these ships on fire
Wow.
and sent them towards the Armada,
Okay.
causing chaos and confusion.
Oh, I see. That's smart.
Yeah, it was a pretty clever tactic.
Yeah.
The Armada also failed to link up with Parma's army.
Oh, right. They were supposed to meet up.
They were supposed to meet up,
Yeah.
but it didn't happen.
Okay.
And then, of course, there were those infamous storms.
Oh, yeah. The English weather.
English weather,
Notoriously bad.
notoriously bad,
Yeah.
which battered the Spanish fleet.
Okay, so a combination of factors
Yeah, combination of factors.
led to their defeat.
Yeah, and it's a reminder that sometimes
Yeah.
unforeseen circumstances
Right.
can completely change the course of history.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can't predict everything.
Can't predict everything.
No.
So the defeat of the Armada It's often seen as this turning point
Oh, yeah.
that secured England's Protestant future.
Okay.
But our journey through these near misses
Yeah.
doesn't stop there.
It doesn't.
It keeps going.
All right. Where to next?
We're going to the Gunpowder Plot of 1605.
The Gunpowder Plot. Okay.
Guy Fawkes.
Oh, Guy Fawkes. I've heard of him.
Yes. Guy Fawkes and his infamous plot to blow up Parliament.
Okay. Wow. Blow up Parliament. That's pretty extreme.
It was a desperate plan
Okay.
conceived by a group of Catholics
Okay.
during the reign of James the Camp.
James the First. Okay.
They were desperate because of the increasingly harsh anti-Catholic laws.
Right. So they felt like they had no other choice.
They felt like they had no other choice.
Wow.
And their aim was to assassinate the entire Protestant leadership,
The entire leadership.
including the king.
Wow. That's a bold plan.
It was incredibly audacious.
It was.
And the thing is, they almost succeeded.
They did. How close did they get?
They were so close.
Really?
They had 36 barrels of gunpowder.
36 barrels.
36 barrels.
Wow, that's a lot of gunpowder.
Right underneath the Houses of Parliament.
Right underneath.
Right underneath.
Oh my God.
If that had gone off,
Yeah.
the consequences would have been unimaginable.
It would have been devastating.
Devastating.
Yeah.
So the what if here is pretty scary to think about.
What if it had worked?
What if it had worked?
Yeah.
What if the plot had succeeded?
Yeah. What would England look like then?
Well, the sources suggest that Protestant rule would have collapsed
Okay.
immediately.
Right.
And then you'd have this massive Catholic rebellion.
Oh, wow.
Probably even a civil war.
A civil war. Wow, that's a huge turning point.
It's a completely different England.
Yeah. Wow, it's incredible how close they came.
It is. It is.
So what stopped them?
Well, they got unlucky.
They got unlucky.
They did.
How so?
Someone sent an anonymous letter
An anonymous letter.
warning the authorities.
Oh, wow. And they took it seriously.
They did.
Okay.
They searched Parliament,
Yeah.
and they found Guy Fawkes guarding the gunpowder
Oh, no.
just hours before it was set to explode.
Wow. That's a close call.
It's an incredibly close call.
It is.
So in this instance, you could say that a Catholic England was one spark away
One spark away.
from becoming a reality.
Wow. Literally one
Yeah.
spark
Literally one spark.
from that match.
Yeah, that's all it would have taken.
That's incredible.
It's frightening to think about.
It is. It is.
But the irony is
Yeah.
that the failure of the plot
Yeah.
actually led to even stricter anti-Catholic laws.
Oh, so it backfired.
It totally backfired.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we go from here?
Well, we move on to the reign of Charles I
Charles the First? Okay.
from 1625 to 1649.
Uh,
Now, Charles himself wasn't Catholic.
he wasn't.
He wasn't.
Okay.
But he had some Catholic sympathies.
He did.
He did, yeah.
Okay, where did that come from?
Well, partly through his marriage to Henrietta Maria.
Oh, right, Henrietta Maria. She was Catholic.
She was Catholic.
Yeah.
And his perceived tolerance of Catholics
Okay.
really fueled a lot of anxiety and suspicion among the Protestant Parliament.
So they were worried he was going to turn England Catholic again.
They were worried about that.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
And this is a period where the king's personal beliefs. Yeah.
And his political struggles
Right.
got really entangled with all these religious tensions.
It's all connected.
It's all connected, yeah.
Wow.
A lot of parliamentarians, they feared that Charles was secretly trying to bring England back to Catholicism.
Oh, I see. They saw him as a threat.
Yeah, they saw him as a threat.
Okay.
And the English Civil War itself,
Yeah.
it had these strong religious undertones.
It did.
It did, yeah.
Okay.
Because a lot of the royalists,
Yeah.
they had support from Catholic factions.
Oh, so there were Catholics fighting on both sides.
Yeah, there were Catholics fighting on both sides.
Okay.
So what if Charles had won the Civil War?
That's a big what if.
It is, you know.
Yeah.
What would happen then?
What would England have looked like?
Well, according to the sources,
Yeah.
a royalist victory could have led to a significant increase in Catholic influence.
Okay.
You know, with Parliament out of the picture,
Right.
Charles might have been able to ease up on those anti-Catholic laws.
Maybe even start moving England back towards Rome.
So a gradual return to Catholicism.
A gradual return, yeah.
Interesting.
So in this case, you could say that Catholic England was one war away
One war away.
from becoming a reality.
Wow, that's a powerful thought.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
But as we know, Charles lost the war.
He did?
He was executed.
Yeah.
And England entered this period of Puritan rule
Puritan rule. Okay.
under Oliver Cromwell.
Cromwell.
And Cromwell's regime, it was very anti-Catholic.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So Catholicism was
Suppressed.
even further during that time.
Okay, so what happens next?
Well, next we have the restoration of the monarchy.
Oh, the Restoration. Okay.
We're Charles II.
Charles II. Right.
Now, Charles II, he spent a lot of time in exile.
He did.
He did, yeah.
Where did he go?
In Catholic countries.
Catholic countries. Okay.
And he actually had secret Catholic leanings himself.
He did.
He did. Yeah. So when he returned to the throne in 1660,
Yeah.
there was this hope among English Catholics
Okay.
that maybe things would change.
Right. Maybe there'd be more tolerance.
More tolerance.
Yeah.
Maybe even a full restoration of Catholicism.
Wow. So they had high hopes.
They had high hopes.
Yeah.
But Charles, he was a smart politician.
He was. He was.
He knew that openly supporting Catholicism could lead to another rebellion.
Right. He didn't want to rock the boat too much.
He didn't want to rock the boat, yeah.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
In 1670, he signed this secret treaty with France.
A secret treaty.
The Treaty of Dover.
The Treaty of Dover. Okay.
And in this treaty, he actually pledged to convert to Catholicism.
He did.
He did.
Wow. In secret.
In secret.
Okay.
In exchange for French support.
French support. Okay.
Financial and military support.
Oh, wow. So he was willing to make that deal.
He was willing to make that deal.
Wow.
So the what if here is...
What if he had gone public?
What if he had gone public with his conversion?
Yeah. What if he had announced it to the world?
Well, it would have been risky.
Risky. Yeah.
But it could have rallied Catholic support within England.
Okay.
And it might have even led to changes in the law.
In favor of Catholics?
In favor of Catholics, yeah.
Interesting.
So it's possible that his decision to keep it secret
right.
was the one thing that prevented a Catholic resurgence in England.
So a Catholic England was one decision away.
One decision away.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is. It is.
And let's not forget, he actually did convert on his deathbed.
He did. He did.
So he was a Catholic at heart.
Yeah, he was. He was. Expert speaker.